What's up, everyone? Hope everybody's having a great day. Today, we need to talk about something that's been haunting me since I had learned about it. The last communication from the Biffle family aircraft didn't come from the pilots. It didn't come through aviation radios. It came from Cristina Biffle's phone. A text message to her mother, followed by something even more chilling. An automatic SOS signal that modern phones send when they detect a severe crash. And folks, when you understand what that means, when you realize what Christina's phone detected and automatically reported, you understand that technology has become an unintended witness to our final moments. This is about those last messages, the ones that confirm the worst fears of a mother waiting at home, the ones that tell us more about those final seconds than any flight data ever could. Kathy Grosu was probably going about her morning on December 18th when her phone buzzed. A text from her daughter, Cristina. Nothing unusual about that. Mothers and daughters text all the time. But this message was different. According to those close to the investigation, Cristina's text said something about an emergency landing. The exact words haven't been released publicly, and honestly, they don't need to be. What matters is that Cristina knew something was wrong. She knew it was serious enough to warn her mother. She knew there was a possibility they might not make it. So she did what any daughter would do. She reached out to her mom one last time. Think about that moment. Cristina is in the back of that Citation. She can probably feel the unusual flight attitudes, the changing engine sounds, the tension from the cockpit. Maybe she can hear Dennis and Jack dealing with the emergency. Maybe she can see her husband Greg looking concerned, her children Emma and Ryder probably asking what's wrong, and in that chaos, in that fear, she pulls out her phone and texts her mother. It's such a human response, such a natural instinct. When we're scared, we reach out to those who've always protected us, even when they're hundreds of miles away, even when they can't help. We just need them to know. But here's where technology adds a layer to this tragedy that didn't exist even 10 years ago. Modern smartphones have crash detection features. The iPhone 14 and newer models have it built in. High-end Android phones have similar features. Using a combination of accelerometers, gyroscopes, microphones, and GPS, these phones can detect when you've been in a severe car crash, or in this case, a plane crash. The phone measures the sudden deceleration. It hears the sound of impact through its microphones. It detects the dramatic change in motion, and when all these sensors agree that a crash has occurred, it automatically sends an SOS. The automatic SOS system is remarkable in its simplicity and horrifying in its implications. When the phone detects a crash, it starts a countdown, usually 10 to 20 seconds. A message appears on screen asking if you're okay. If you don't respond, if you can't respond because you're unconscious or worse, the phone automatically contacts emergency services. It sends your GPS location. It notifies your emergency contacts. It basically screams for help on your behalf when you can't scream yourself. It's saved countless lives in car accidents. But in the case of flight, November 257 Bravo Whiskey, it could only confirm what had already happened. Kathy Grosu received that automatic SOS sometime after 10:15 a.m. Her daughter's phone detecting the violent impact with the trees, the massive deceleration from 150 miles per hour to 0, the sounds of destruction that the microphone picked up, the sudden stop of all motion. The phone's artificial intelligence processing all this data in milliseconds and reaching the conclusion, crash detected, emergency help needed, and then sending that cold digital signal to a mother who was probably already praying her daughter's earlier text was wrong. Can you imagine being Kathy in that moment? First getting a text about an emergency landing, that's terrifying enough. You're probably calling, texting back, trying to get more information, hoping it's just a precaution, hoping they're overreacting. Then, minutes later, your phone buzzes again, but it's not Cristina responding. It's an automated message. SOS, emergency crash detected. Location with GPS coordinates. And you know. In that instant, you know. The technology designed to save lives has just confirmed your worst nightmare. Your daughter, your granddaughters, your son-in-law, they're gone. The timeline of these messages matters. The emergency landing text came while the aircraft was still flying, probably during those chaotic minutes when they were configuring for landing, when Jack was making his radio calls, when Dennis was fighting the controls. Cristina had enough time and presence of mind to type and send a message. That tells us she wasn't panicking. She was scared, but functional. She was aware, but not paralyzed. She was being a mother herself, thinking of her own mother, making sure someone knew what was happening. But there's something else about that text that breaks my heart. Cristina probably thought they'd make it. You don't text about an emergency landing if you think you're about to die. You text because you want people to know why you're going to be late, why you might be on the news, why you need prayers but you expect to see them again. That text was probably meant to be followed up with another one saying we're safe. We made it. Everything's okay. Instead, it was followed by an automatic SOS that said the opposite. The phone's crash detection algorithm is sophisticated but brutal in its simplicity. It measures G-forces looking for the specific signature of a crash. Sudden massive deceleration, the kind that breaks bones and ends lives. In car crashes, it typically detects impacts above 35 miles per hour. But the citation hit those trees at probably 150. The G-forces would have been off the charts. The phone wouldn't have had any doubt. This wasn't a maybe. This was clearly catastrophic. The kind of impact nothing survives. What's particularly haunting is that the phone survived enough to send that signal. Think about the violence of that crash. The aircraft disintegrating, fire erupting, everything destroyed. But somewhere in that wreckage, Cristina's phone intact enough to process what happened and send a message. Technology proving more durable than human bodies. Silicon and glass outlasting flesh and bone. The phone doing its job even after its owner couldn't, still trying to help, still calling for rescue, still connected to the network as flames consumed everything around it. The automatic SOS would have included GPS coordinates, exact latitude and longitude of the impact site. First responders probably had that location before the fire department even got the emergency call from the airport. Kathy Grossu knew exactly where her daughter died before the news reported it. She could have opened a map and seen the spot, zoomed in on satellite view and seen the trees that claimed her family. That kind of precise, terrible knowledge wasn't possible before smartphones. Now it's automatic. Technology giving us information we never asked for and can never forget. There's been discussion about whether Cristina sent other messages that haven't been made public, whether she texted Greg's family too, whether there were final words to her children's teachers or friends, whether she tried to FaceTime someone to say goodbye. The investigators have her phone records. They know every message sent, every call attempted, every data packet transmitted. But most of that will never be released. It's too private, too painful, too personal. The family deserves to keep those final communications to themselves. But we know about the emergency landing text and the automatic SOS because they're part of the investigation. They establish timeline. They confirm the crew knew they were in trouble. They provide evidence that this wasn't a sudden, catastrophic failure, but a developing emergency that everyone on board was aware of. Cristina's text proves the passengers knew something was wrong. It shows they had time to process what was happening. It demonstrates that this wasn't instant. There were minutes of knowing, minutes of fear, minutes of hope that turned to horror. The technology behind automatic crash detection keeps improving. Newer phones can detect more types of accidents. They can differentiate between a fall and a crash. They can even detect if you've been in a rollover versus a head-on collision. But they all work on the same principle. Massive, sudden deceleration equals emergency. The phones don't understand death. They just understand physics. They measure forces and make calculations. If force exceeds threshold, send SOS. It's binary, mathematical, emotionless. Yet it delivers the most emotional news possible. Apple and Google probably never imagined their crash detection features would be used in plane crashes. They designed them for cars, motorcycles, maybe bicycle accidents. But physics is physics. A crash is a crash, whether it's on a highway or in a forest. After falling from the sky, the phone doesn't care about context. It just knows that its accelerometer went from normal to catastrophic in milliseconds, that its user went from living to not in the same instant. That help is needed even if help is too late. The first responders who received that automatic SOS location probably knew what they'd find. The coordinates were 1,800 feet short of the runway. In aviation terms, that's not a landing. That's an impact. But they had to respond anyway. They had to try. The technology demanded it. The automatic signal triggered automatic responses. Fire trucks rolling, ambulances dispatched, emergency procedures activated. All because a phone in a dead woman's pocket detected what had happened and screamed for help into the digital void. There's something profound about Cristina being the one whose phone sent these messages. She wasn't a pilot. She had no control over the aircraft. She couldn't help with the emergency. But she became the communicator, the link between the aircraft and the ground. Her text warned her mother. Her phone's SOS confirmed the crash. In the historical record, she becomes the voice of the passengers, the one who documented their awareness, the one whose technology bore witness. Not Dennis the captain, not Jack the one making radio calls, but Cristina the mother, who just wanted her mom to know. I think about Emma and Ryder in those final moments, 14 and 5 years old. Did they see their mom texting? Did they ask who she was messaging? Did they understand what emergency landing meant? Or were they protected by childhood innocence, believing Dad would fix whatever was wrong? Cristina had to balance being honest with them and keeping them calm, had to be their mother while dealing with her own fear, had to comfort them while texting her own mother for comfort. The layers of emotion in that cabin are overwhelming to consider. The automatic SOS has become a regular part of emergency response now. Dispatchers are trained to recognize them. They know that when they get that automated call with GPS coordinates and crash detected in the text-to-speech message, someone's life has just changed forever. Maybe ended. They respond differently to these calls. There's an urgency, but also a resignation. The phone is telling them something catastrophic has already happened. They're not preventing tragedy. They're responding to it. They're not saving lives. They're recovering bodies. Some people have asked why Cristina didn't call instead of text. Why not FaceTime or voice call her mother? The answer is probably simple. In an emergency in a small aircraft, with alarms possibly going off, with engines running rough, with everyone talking at once, a phone call would have been impossible. But a text? You can type a text in chaos. You can send it quickly. You can communicate without adding noise to an already overwhelming situation. Cristina made the right choice, the only choice that made sense, and her message got through. The phone companies have data on how many automatic SOS signals are sent daily. Thousands. Most from car crashes, some from falls, occasionally from other traumatic events. But plane crashes are rare. So rare that Cristina's phone's signal probably stood out. The velocity of impact, the extreme G-forces, the sudden total stop of motion. The algorithm would have had no doubt. This was catastrophic. This was unsurvivable. This was the kind of crash the feature was designed to detect, but hoped never to encounter. Kathy Grossu has not spoken publicly about those messages. What could she say? How do you describe getting a text from your daughter about an emergency, then minutes later getting confirmation she's dead? How do you process that your grandchildren are gone? That your son-in-law is gone? That the text you received was the last you'll ever get from your daughter? There are no words for that kind of pain. No way to articulate that loss. The technology that connected them in life became the bearer of death. The same phone that carried years of happy messages delivered the worst news possible. The investigation will include Cristina's phone as evidence. They'll analyze the exact timestamp of the text, the precise moment the crash was detected, the G-forces measured, the sounds recorded. All of it data points in an accident investigation. But for her family, that phone represents so much more. It's the last connection to Cristina. The last thing she touched, the device that carried her final words. It survived the crash at least long enough to send that SOS, A small piece of technology that outlasted its owner and told her story. There's been discussion about whether these automatic features should be disabled on aircraft. Should phones be in airplane mode, preventing them from sending these signals? But that misses the point. The SOS didn't cause the crash, it just documented it. And in some scenarios, that automatic signal might save lives, might get help there faster, might make the difference between survival and death. The technology isn't the problem. The crash is the problem. The phone just told the truth about what happened. As smartphones get smarter, they'll detect more. Future phones might detect medical emergencies, heart attacks, strokes, severe injuries. They might become our constant guardians, watching for trouble and calling for help. But they'll also become witnesses to our worst moments, documenters of tragedies, digital observers of human suffering. Christina's phone watching her die and reporting it to her mother is just the beginning. We're entering an age where our devices know our fate before our families do, where algorithms deliver death notices, where technology witnesses what no human should have to see. The Biffle family tragedy would have been just as devastating without these messages. 7 people would still be gone. Families would still be destroyed. NASCAR would still be mourning. But somehow, knowing that Cristina texted her mum, knowing that her phone detected the crash and tried to get help, makes it more real, more immediate, more human. It's not just a news story about a plane crash. It's a daughter reaching out to her mother one last time. It's technology confirming what we never wanted to know. It's the modern world intruding on ancient grief. Thank you all for watching. This story about Cristina's messages has haunted me since I learned about it. The image of a mother getting that text, then that automatic SOS, is something I can't shake. The technology designed to save lives becoming the messenger of death. The phone surviving just long enough to tell the truth about what happened. It's a reminder that our devices are always watching, always measuring, always ready to report. Sometimes that saves lives. Sometimes it just confirms they're lost. Either way, the machines bear witness to our human tragedies in ways we're only beginning to understand. Rest in peace, Cristina. Your last message got through. Your mother knows you were thinking of her. The technology you trusted did its job even after you couldn't. That's something. Not much, but something. We'll see you at the checkered flag.